For generations we have celebrated Beowulf as the towering edifice of Old English literary genius, the first epic of our island nation. Yet, cast your gaze across the choppy waters of the North Sea and the compelling counter-narrative emerges, one that suggests our beloved hero's tale might have begun not with us, but with our Scandinavian forebears. We're going to try to figure out where this epic actually came from, and by the end of this video, you might look at ancient texts a little different. Beowulf, first original poem of length in the English language, right? Anglo-Saxon masterpiece, except the heroes are all Scandinavian. And the setting? Scandinavia. Denmark, Sweden. For ages, smart blokes like Muller have been shouting that Beowulf is nothing more than an Anglo-Saxon cover band playing a Scandinavian here. He said, and I quote, "Everyone knows that in the ancient time, each nation celebrated in song its own heroes alone." It's obvious when you think about it, we do the same. Why would the Anglo-Saxons be singing about Geatish and Danish kings if it wasn't originally their story? It's like me writing an epic poem about a famous Indian chef and then calling it the quintessential English dish. The whole idea that Beowulf is essentially a Scandinavian import absolutely shits on the theories of other scholars, who reckons it's all about some Mercian king from the 9th century. But here's the thing, it's about the Angles before they even got to England. They were chilling in Schleswig, right in the heart of Germania, North Sea on one side, Baltic on the other, basically ground zero for cultural exchange. They were mixing out with Scandinavian tribes left, right and centre. So, is it a stretch to think that they'd pick up a few cracking stories along the way? Well, of course not. They were like cultural sponges, soaking up sagas and songs from everyone around them. And you bet your ass they brought those stories with them over to England when they sailed. This wasn't some casual folklore exchange. Linguistic evidence actually backs this up. The language in Beowulf points to a time before the Jutes, Angles and Saxons properly settled in England. If communication in England and Scandinavia was all but suspended later on, how the hell would these traditions have arrived? It just doesn't make any sense. The only logical conclusion is that these Geatish tales spread to the Angles while they were still in Scandinavia. Then, when the Angles packed their bags and sailed for England in the 6th century, they brought Beowulf's ancestry with them. Imagine these stories passed from shop to bar, changing a bit here and embellished a bit there, until boom, we get the Beowulf we recognise today. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. The direct evidence for this exact transmission, it's pretty thin. In fact, it's utterly inadequate. There's only about 8 words in Beowulf that aren't found in other Old English texts. 3 of those aren't even in Old Norse. The other 5, just compound words. So linguistically speaking, it's not exactly a smoking gun. The core stories, the raw material that would become Beowulf, were part of a cultural furniture the Angles brought when they landed here between 450 and 530. Think of it like a really old folk song that gets passed around. The lyrics change, the melody shifts, but the heart of the story remains. Now let's talk about Beowulf himself, specifically his family tree. His uncle Hyrlak died around 516, and his son Heardred was king for a bit. Then it passed on to Beowulf. 50 years Beowulf ruled until he snuffed it fighting a dragon. Problem is, we have absolutely zero evidence that a King Beowulf of the Geats ever existed and died fighting a dragon. None. The dragon is just a flight fancy. But there really is no Beowulf King of the Geats in historical records. There is nothing. So with pretty damn high levels of confidence, we can say that the dragon slaying king part, pure fiction. The closest parallels to Beowulf's monster fights before our poem usually involve heroes battling a male and a female monster, never a dragon. Not until our boy Beowulf rocked up, unless you count Sigurd Fafnir's Bane, who incidentally Beowulf gets compared to after battling Grendel. This isn't some tiny detail. This is a massive deviation from established lore. These stories, the ones that fed into Beowulf, probably hung around England for centuries. So, here's the most probable origin story for Beowulf. It started as a Geatish or Danish song or tale based on Germanic folklore. The Angles heard it, loved it, brought it over to England when they settled in the 5th and 6th centuries. Or maybe it's just one of their own, who knows? Everyone back then had a bear's son type folktale. Then, over time, bit by bit, the story evolved. New bits were added, like the whole dragon thing. Maybe added to give our hero a more legendary allure like Sigurd Valsa. And crucially, it got more and more Christianized. The clergy hated those damn heathens and their stories. Imagine the shops doing their thing. They weren't just reciting, they were performing, adapting, making it relevant for their audience. It's not a static text, it's a living, breathing, evolving tale. If you've made it this far, you're obviously as obsessed with Beowulf as I am. Is it still an English epic you thought it was? Or a saga born in the mists of Scandinavia, carried across a storm-tossed sea and transformed by generations of Anglo-Saxon storytellers in a cornerstone of our language, a testament to our sheer bloody-minded power of a good story. And honestly, who gives a shit where it started when it ended up this damn good? It will always be a part of my Anglo-Scandi heritage. Anyway, the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll like this video. Happy Fridays. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like the video if you like the video. And I'll see you in the next one.